You know, it seems like there are events that are occurring more and more frequently that cause us to speculate, is society failing and falling faster than we think? Well, here's what I'm talking about. We should be taking responsibility and be personally accountable for our actions. But you know what? That isn't trending anymore.
It's not even trending, which is actually kind of sad.
It's not. I'm talking about being a victim of misadventure because of poor planning or simply not reading directions and then thinking someone else is to blame for the result.
No. We put a warning label on it. We don't have any liability. Ah!
Yeah, that's right, Bill. Put a warning label on it. But to what end? Now, I'm going to wager you're wondering what the heck I'm talking about. Well, let's dive in and we can have a look. I'm talking about the death of personal accountability. Hi, my name is Kevin Barrett. I'm a health and safety professional, and I make health and safety related videos here on YouTube. This is Speaking of Safety, my safety vlog.
Is that even a word?
I think that's a word. But anyway, I want to talk to you today about warning labels. Now, here's the question. Are warning labels, or rather the ever-increasing need for granular and expanded content in them, destroying personal accountability? Is personal accountability dying? Is it already dead? Because after all, the warning label didn't say. Don't get me wrong, we need warning labels. They're a good thing, especially in cases where technical expertise is required or it's necessary to protect those that can't really protect themselves. You know, kids. And I bet you're thinking, well, this is common sense.
It's just common sense.
I'm here to tell you as a safety professional, and I can almost pretty much guarantee you that a lot of my colleagues will say the same thing. We know there's no such thing as common sense. There are warning labels on almost everything. And for some cases, for good reason. Take step ladders, for instance. Most workplace accidents result as fall from a height. So step ladders, regardless if they're sold to the consumer or they're used in the workplace, have warning labels either on the top step or the top two steps to not use as a step, and for good reason. Overbalancing of the center of gravity causes falls. So that's why they have warning labels. Take harsh cleaning chemicals. Often they'll have big, bold letters on them, keep out of reach of children. They'll also say things like, don't mix with other chemicals, wear protection, and this is what I'm talking about, that technical expertise. Let's take a quick look at the workplace just so we can form a contrast and see how it contrasts with the consumer setting. First off, workplaces usually have a requirement within the health and safety program, or depending where you are, legislation, that all warning labels on equipment and products have to stay in place and they have to be replaced if they're defaced or damaged and unreadable. Not only that, there's usually safe use procedures created to complement these products and to add to the warning labels. In most cases, employers have the responsibility to ensure that employees are well aware of the hazards with the tasks that they're performing. In Canada, for instance, it's a requirement, it's legislation. Employees also have a responsibility. They're responsible to participate in any of the learning process, any of the training, to read the labels, to follow safe procedures, and not misuse equipment or products. Basically, it could be said that there's a monetary incentive to use things and adhere to warning labels in the workplace.
Good business is about respect and accountability.
I guess workplaces have accountability. Let's fast forward and let's put this in a consumer-based or public perspective. Personal injury lawsuits have been around for a while. And you know what? In some cases, they're a good thing. They can facilitate change. In some cases, though, they can be abused and be a bad thing. I'm not going to pass judgment on anything. That's not what this is about. It's about the change and the troubling change that's occurring in society. Now, let's go back a few decades. Let's go back to Liebeck versus McDonald's restaurants. Apologies if I mispronounced the name. In 1992, an elderly woman spilled some hot coffee on herself. She severely injured herself. She required skin grafts. And so I'm not knocking that she didn't go through pain. Absolutely not at all. Anyway, as a result, everything went through settlement and civil litigation and all of that stuff, and resulted in a large settlement being awarded to her. A couple of points here. Number one, when was the last time you ever saw anybody going, please, could you make my coffee lukewarm?
Can it be lukewarm?
Or, I'll have tepid black, please. No, we order coffee, we're going to get it hot. Not only that, needless to say, nobody's really changed the temperature and how they serve coffee. Nothing's really changed. Now, we have establishments that are taking the time to have warning labels on their sleeves, warning labels on their cups, and even signage. May cause injury if spilled. Go figure. And then there's this. There's labels like this. Now, since then, warning labels have been growing in size and content, and obviously this is for fear of litigation. And this litigation after mishap, whether said mishap is through consumer negligence or not. Let's fast forward into recent times. Earlier this year, we got a break on social media. We, instead of being plagued with things like politics and insurrection and, well, the plague, and the need to decide whether we're going to wear 1, 2, 3, or 4 masks, we got a break, and we got a break with Tessica Brown's hair debacle. Now, you might not recognize the name. If you do, good for you. You've been following the news. If not, you might know of her better as Gorilla Glue Girl. Say that 3 times fast. I'm not knocking or mocking her or anything else. That's not the point of this. The point is warning labels and misusing products. Quick bit of background. She didn't have any hairspray left, so she was leaving the house and she wanted to just finish off her do, and she grabbed a bottle of Gorilla Glue spray, and she thought she could just wash it out later. Unfortunately, a long period of time, I think a few weeks went by, and she couldn't get it out. And so she turned to the next best thing.
Social media.
Yes, you guessed it, social media. Went viral. And as you can imagine, social media, some people were very compassionate, very helpful. Some were extremely cruel and heartless. It was a mixed bag. People also were wanting their own recognition. So, you know, social media just being social media.
Social media is bringing us all closer together.
And of course, the social media scientists and legal experts started to weigh in. Now, because social media was aflame, mainstream media got in on it too. And of course, there was the usual political wrangling, trying to politicize and turn it into something it wasn't, using this person's misfortune for another soundbite, because after all, we know if it bleeds, it leads. And of course, legal experts weighing in. And you guessed it, there was a difference of opinion. Oh, by the way, yes, she did say she read the warning label. Let's look at a couple of quotes. And I'm not going to mention anything in the description about where I got this. It's there. If you want to search for it, you go right ahead and find it. But I don't want to cause any strife with the legal group. Hair is considered, one of the quotes here, hair is considered dead tissue that's outside your scalp and continues to grow. We do a lot of things with our hair that we don't do with our skin. Go figure. Another lawyer chimed in, and this lawyer was talking about the container the product came in. He said the bottle looks like it contains suntan lotion, adding that the company's gorilla logo seems playful and the bottle's bright orange color is inviting. You know what? Last time I looked, there's some paint that looks like vanilla pudding. Doesn't mean I'm going to drink it. Now, the lawyer also goes on to discuss how, depending on the locale and where she's living, that, you know what, the manufacturer might be able to be found at 5% at fault, and so this person could be eligible for an award. That's disconcerting. Thankfully, this media outlet also went further to talk to other lawyers, and thank goodness there was a voice of reason. This is what one lawyer said. Gorilla Glue, to my knowledge, specifically says that it's a craft-based product, and it's not reasonable to anticipate that somebody would use a craft-based glue in their hair. She goes on further to say this stretches the law to the outer limits, trying to suggest that there's liability from somebody who took it upon themselves to put spray glue in their hair. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's just crazy. Why would you think that you can put spray glue in your hair and that's okay? That's the problem. Between social media and mainstream media, they were talking about the fact that it didn't say anything about hair, but the label did go on to talk about can't use it on your body or skin or clothing. Where's the acceptance of risk? Why are we trying to transfer accountability from the consumer when they misuse a product back to the company? And yeah, she did read the label, and not only that, social media pieces also reported that there was legal consultation. Thankfully though, obviously the lawyer talked her out of it. Here's some other depressing labels. You just bear with me. There's rotary tool makers that have to put warnings on their tools. I'm not going to mention brand names, but you know, the little rotary tools. And the labels say not meant for human or veterinary dentistry. We have to say this. Not only that, washing machines all come with warning labels not to place people, or in some cases they say don't place children in them. Really, we've got to that. Hair straighteners, you know, the heating elements that people use to straighten their hair, they have instructions not to use on their eyelashes.
Wow, wow.
Wow. Also, something else found in the anti-nausea medication for pets may cause drowsiness while driving. So we have a problem. Either the person is taking it or they're allowing their pet to drive their car. Either or, not a good thing. And then some other warning labels. Yeah, it's depressing. Getting onto that, do you remember the Tide Pod Challenge? All humor aside, do you remember the Tide Pod Challenge? You know, where people were biting down or eating these things and yuck. The warnings on detergent used to say something like, and there were small warning labels, warning, harmful if swallowed, keep out of reach of children, you know, things like that. Now they have to have in bold letters across them, harmful if put in mouth or swallowed. Really, we have to do that. Now there's increasing calls by for the company that Procter & Gamble, the parent company of Tide, to take this product that's intended for laundry use and make it so it's impossible to put it in your mouth. Really. For instance, here's an article from a mainstream media outlet. Although Tide Pods include warning labels on their packaging explaining the detrimental effects of eating a pod, this is evidently not enough. The company needs to realize the harm they are causing, even though it is unintentional. Tide needs to take action. Tide needs to remove the pods from the shelves until they come up with a solution to this craze. Tide should redesign their product in such a way that people are unable to bite into their product. The company knows about the Tide Pod Challenge and neglects to change the design of the product at this time. Really, why should the company be accountable for negligence, misadventure, improper use of their product? By this same logic, paint makers should put warning labels, may look like vanilla pudding, don't drink it. Or automotive manufacturers should have big, huge warning labels on their cars. And if I drive them recklessly, that I should maybe sue the company? Like, this doesn't make sense. Thankfully, in the workplace, through legislation, the desire for positive optics through social responsibility, in most cases, just pure altruism and compassion, employers work very hard to ensure the safety of their workers by providing knowledge and training to use the equipment and products safely. Fortunately, in most jurisdictions, there's workplace safety legislation in place that empowers employers to take action against things like horseplay and inappropriate conduct. You know, like if you're working in a laundromat and you decided to eat Tide Pods, your problem. Now, at work, the misuse of products and equipment would likely result in discipline and possibly even termination. But workers in their leisure time outside of work, there seems to be no incentive for the regular consumer to follow conventions or adhere to manufacturer direction.
All right, what's my motivation?
My concern is this desire for absent accountability going to start creeping into the workplace? Some final questions. Do consumer product makers have to create instruction booklets for everything? Do they? Do they have to have these long, huge labels that you need a magnifying glass to read? When does it end for manufacturer responsibility and begin for consumer personal accountability? Is it possible that personal injury advocates and personal injury lawyers are exacerbating the issue a bit? Not making accusations, asking the question. And finally, are we living in a time where things are requiring a shift into a nanny state society where people no longer feel that they're accountable for their actions, and as a result, somebody else should be accountable? Let me know what you think. Honestly, leave a comment. I want to hear from you. I don't care if it's positive, you're agreeing with me, disagreeing with me, or you want to flame me. I don't mind. I won't blame you. If you like the video, do me a favor, give me a like. If you haven't subscribed yet, click the subscribe button. I'm going to leave a few links, and if you want to learn more about health and safety, click the links. Let me know. They'll be up on either side here. Until we see each other again, do me a favor though. Lead by example. Don't just think about safety and talk about safety, but read and adhere to the warning labels. Take care. Bye for now.